Hello everybody! As this year is coming to an end, I would like to take this moment to look back on what we've done this year. I've been watching YouTube creators my whole life, and I was always very interested in how they got started in their YouTube career. So that's what we're gonna do today. My first upload with 0 subscribers and 0 views was on February this year. And today the channel stands at 20,000 subscribers and 1 million views, which is an absolutely mind-boggling number. Thank you guys so much. But I'd like to take you on the process of what I did to make this channel what it is today. And I'd like to share some tips for Gamedev YouTubers. So right, let's get into it. I started playing around with Godot in the beginning of January. Before that I used Unity, and before that I used Flash to make some games. I never really worked in game development before this. I did work in web development for a little while, and that's how I got my start in programming. But the moment I installed Godot in January, I instantly fell in love. I was already a really big fan of Blender, and I could really see Godot going down the same path, and I thought I had to get in quick now before it got super famous. And so I spent almost all of January and February experimenting with Godot and posting little clips to Reddit, which got a great response there, and that's how the channel got started. I was playing around with a third-person controller, setting up all the animations, and that's around the time when the Day Before trailer dropped, and I thought I'd tweak my controller to match some of the gameplay elements shown in that trailer, and drop the controller as kind of a meme video, saying, look, here I quickly remaked all the features that were shown in this trailer in this free game engine. And that first video got around 1,000 views back then. Right now it's at 7,000 views, but it taught me two very important things. You can get some views of hypes on the internet, so when there's a hype going around, you make a video on that, you're bound to get some views at least. And secondly, there are not enough Godot tutorials online right now, because everybody was messaging me for tutorials on this, saying there's no tutorial on a third-person controller. And so I looked into it, and I found, of course, some tutorials for third-person controllers, a lot of stuff for older Godot versions, because Godot had a popularity spike a little while back. But now with the newer updates, a lot of the content needs to be refreshed. And so that put a lot of videos on my to-do list, third-person controller videos, more videos showing off mechanics to pique some interest. And that's when I posted another experiment of mine, the little guys. They were still the icon of my channel. And that got an amazing response at the time. Like the first video got like 2,000 views really quickly, and the Reddit post got 1,000 upvotes. And so I was instantly like, okay, this has got to be my project. This is what I'm gonna do. And without a real plan or anything, I just jumped into this project and I just started making a game with it because of this social media hype. And I quickly learned that that's not how the projects work. You need to make an actual planning, you need to have a game in mind, and it needs to be close to your heart because you're gonna need a lot of motivation to get these projects done. And so I made 3 devlogs on this project, and then I instantly burned out on the project because I just didn't know where it was gonna go, and I was just making features without a real goal in mind. And by the beginning of March, I was back to experimenting, and I posted this project of this little Halo demo. It's still one of my favorite projects. I think it turned out so nice. And that video did surprisingly well. Back then, a lot of people were still debating if Godot was even capable of doing certain things. So for people to see this Halo demo, I think it was a nice reinforcement to say like, okay, Godot can do first-person shooters, and this actually looks similar to the first Halo, so at least we're at that point with Godot. And after posting that video, a couple days later, 4.0 stable dropped. This was a big step in Godot history, moving to 3D, because we got the new renderer, we got the global illuminations, there were a lot of optimizations, Vulkan was here, and I knew this was the moment to get started with tutorials, because when there's a new version number, everybody's going to be looking up on YouTube, like first-person tutorial, third-person controller, and then they will see all these tutorials for version 3.5, and they won't watch it, because we're currently on 4.0. And so I knew if I could get in here now and make a couple tutorials on first-person controllers, the general overview of 4.0, I did one on first-person animations, an RPG controller, all these little starter tutorials just to get people into the Gamedev game. And that really reinforced that point that I learned with the first video, which is that it's so useful to follow a hype or a trend that's going around on the internet. Like YouTuber really boost Godot content when there's a new version released because a lot of people are posting about that version. And so after making these tutorials, I jumped back into experimenting just to buffer out some content in between because I wanted to keep a nice upload schedule. I did this little Pokemon village, and then the Unrecord trailer hit, the one with the body cam footage. That was a real hype back then. And so I made an Unrecord version of Godot, like in one quick day. It was a super easy project. And then sprawling off of that, I made a photorealistic tutorial in Godot, how to get these scenes that they used in that trailer into a Godot project. And then I made a couple more tutorials here and there, one about nature scattering in Godot, one about version control for your Godot game. I made a game about designing my room, and a couple of sci-fi projects because I really want to make a sci-fi game, but I'll get into that later. And then another trend popped up. The forums closed of Godot, and there was a couple of accusations within the community around management. It was about really nothing in the end. And that's what I tried to prove in that video, that there was nothing going on and people were just panicking out of nothing. And that video did amazingly well. Yeah, it's a bit of a clickbait, of course, because there's like drama going on and that's what YouTube really loves. So I'm not really proud of it. I always feel a little bit of shame when I post clickbaity videos, but yeah, the message in the video was positive, so I could still sleep at night. After that, I felt like I need to make some more content with actual meat to it, like not just my project showing off, but actually some tutorials. A lot of people were requesting tutorials on all my project videos, and so I decided to do a first-person controller tutorial. Almost all my videos use first-person controllers, and I thought it was at a nice point to post my process of making first-person controllers to the internet and have people learn from it. I've already completely revamped the way I build first-person controllers from that tutorial series, so I might need to refresh it at some point. But yeah, I learned a lot from that series. It was my first series of videos I did on YouTube. I learned that part 2s and part 3s will get significantly less views than the first part, because people just don't want to watch the whole series again when you post a new video, and they're not going to click on a part 2 if they haven't watched part 1, if they pop up in their subscription feed. And they're really draining on the creator, because making a video is really motivating. You're working on a new project, you're learning new things as well, you're working on fun content, but making a part 2 and a part 3, it's just an extension of this first hype, and keeping motivation is a bit more of a challenge in a multi-part project. And after this tutorial series, I hit 5,000 subscribers, and I made a little game about thanking all my individual subscribers, all 5,000 of them, in this little Godot game. It was a fun project. I actually live streamed me thanking all of them, and that was a fun interaction as well. I got to talk with a couple of you guys in the live chat, and it was my first experience live streaming, so yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then everything changed. Unity, the biggest computer of Godot, decided to change their pricing and piss off a lot of their user base. And so a lot of people started moving to Godot. That day that I posted that switching from Unity to Godot video, I got so many views and so many subscribers. And this is when I really started taking YouTube seriously. Before it was more like a hobby and I did it for the community and the people. But that day I got so many views and subscribers. Like if I could have every day like that, I wouldn't have to work anymore in my life ever. And so I made a couple of videos on the whole Unity hype and then started honing on my own skills. I worked a lot on cutscenes, making assets, looking into other projects, for the main reason that imposter syndrome was really starting to weigh on me. It still does to this day. Yeah, I'm in a game dev community and I've never actually made a game. And that's where I panicked a little bit, because I can't make a game really quickly and make content about it. It's going to be like a year-long process at least if I want to make a decent game. And so I decided to take a little bit of a different route and become an expert on the engine, Godot, and not specifically on game dev. I will still make a game, it's definitely in the planning. But yeah, first I wanted to know this engine inside and out, and I just started reading the docs when I was in bed after work. I would just open up the docs, go alphabetically, and just read everything. And then I thought, this could be a great video. And so I started this series of explaining every single node within Godot. And that was an amazing series to do. I learned so much. It's so much fun to play around with all the nodes and really learn this engine. And after that series, I feel so comfortable using Godot. Like whenever I open up a project or see a mechanic in a game, I instantly know all these components from Godot and how to use them. And I've actually used them before because of this tutorial series. So yeah, that was such a great learning experience. And a lot of people really loved the series. And this is also when I got recognition from the actual Godot engine. They retweeted the video on Twitter, and the manager of Godot retweeted a couple of my videos after that. So yeah, that was a huge boost in confidence. Like I'm really part of this community and I'm getting recognition from new guys and from like the higher ups. And yeah, after that 4.2 dropped and I made a little video on that, and then a couple more tutorials and a couple more of my experiments. And that's where we are today. The big plan now is to make a game. Next year I really want to get into my own game and starting a bigger project. I'm still struggling on finding a way to make content surrounding that, because I think people are just going to get bored if I post devlog after devlog. So yeah, I'm really working on a waterproof plan to make this game and have all the components within it be separate tutorials. So I'll make the sound system of my game and then post a tutorial about a general sound system in Godot. And so I can build a bigger project and still teach people online, so I can do all the things that I love in this community and keep entertaining and teaching you guys. And that's the year all wrapped up. Right now we're in December, it's almost New Year's. I'm probably not going to post anything for the rest of the year. I'm a bartender as my main job and it's really busy right now. So I'm going to be working a lot in real life. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff for the next year planned. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this year. It's been an amazing journey. This has been so much fun and I'm so excited for the next year. And until then, see ya.